can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like me. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Make me put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on a brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Keto. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo, mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood, I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We got all day basketball again today. Conference tournaments. We're getting to the good stuff now because Monday and Tuesday, it's like the smaller conferences, and then Tuesday, all the bigger conferences. It's the bad teams that are like at the bottom of the bracket outside of like the WCC tournament, etc. So we're getting to the good stuff today. We actually have some actual basketball teams playing. BYU beat the brakes off of UCF earlier today. We got VCU playing right now. That's at least a respectable team. I think they're down a point at halftime. Wake Forest, Notre Dame, that's a decent game. I think Wake was up big, though. Let me see. 18-9 early in that game. And then we got some good games tipping off here at 3. USC, Washington, Oklahoma, TCU. If you guys did not see my tweet, I took TCU, so you guys can still grab that at 3.5. I think it's minus 120 on FanDuel. Not sure what it is on the other sites, but Oklahoma's down 3 key players today. TCU's healthy. I liked TCU anyways in the game, so the fact that Oklahoma's going to be missing these key rotation players, that's enough for me to press the button on TCU. So I like TCU in that game. USC Washington, that should be a fun game, honestly, given the style that both teams play. Didn't take anything. I'd lean USC, but Washington is the type of team that I think could give USC fits. But USC's been pretty good when they've been fully healthy. So that's why I would lean towards them, but didn't take anything there. Last night, the only thing I was wrong about yesterday was Gonzaga. And of course, that was my biggest bet of the night. So that was super unfortunate. I don't know. I don't know if first I can look at this both ways. That was not the Gonzaga team I signed up for. And that was not the Gonzaga team that, beat Kentucky at Rupp Arena. That was not the Kentucky team. That was not the Gonzaga team that beat Kentucky, the one that played last night. They did not play good. They just looked shaky. St. Mary's completely dominated the style of the game. They played exactly how they wanted to, and Gonzaga couldn't do anything about it. Another takeaway from the game is Nembhard always struggles in big games, and this happened last year at Creighton. I was a big backer of Creighton last year, and Nembhard basically single-handedly, Nick, what's up? Nembhard single-handedly sold Creighton in that Elite Eight game last year. And then I don't think he played very good last night. He had the late turnover. He just looked shaky at times in big games. So I think that a takeaway from that is, as someone that has a 45-1 Creighton future from earlier in the season, that was like a big thing coming into the year that Creighton lost Nembhard, and people didn't like that. I'm fine with it. I would much rather have Ashworth and Alexander run my offense than Nembhard. So as a Creighton backer, I actually feel better about it after watching last night because it looked like the same Nembhard to me in a big game. He just plays shaky. So I'd rather have Ashworth and Alexander than Nembhard if I'm Creighton. But that was not the Gonzaga team that beat Kentucky. I don't know what they were doing last night. They did not play good. So we'll see what happens when the tournament comes. Obviously, both St. Mary's and Gonzaga will be in the field of 68. So Yeah. All right, let's dive into tonight. Like I said, TCU, I took that because of the Oklahoma injuries. And it's still 3.5 minus 120 on FanDuel. At least that's what I'm seeing. UTSA Temple. I mean, these splits are insane. I'm not a huge like splits guy, but these teams just played. If you guys haven't been following along, Temple got busted for basically throwing games in when they played. I think they played UAB, and I don't know. I think it's been going on at other times this season, but they got caught against UAB throwing this game. And then everyone wanted to bet UTSA against them on the weekend because it came out that they were throwing games. And then Temple was down like double digits and came back and won the game. So I don't know. I think it would be. I'm not playing the game. I understand wanting to bet UTSA because they should have won that game. They should have beat Temple. They just they completely melted down in the second half. But I also think for the memes, it would be hilarious if Temple, after getting in trouble for throwing games, just like won a couple games in the conference tournament. I think that would be hilarious. So I'm not touching the game, but I'm like silently rooting for Temple just because I think that would be so funny. Xavier Butler's a good game at 4:00. These teams just played also. Xavier won the first matchup. Butler won the second. I've seen people on both sides of this game that I respect. End of the day, I'm not going to bet it. I think Butler's the better team, so I would lean towards them. But I could see either side in a Big East game here. It's probably going to be close and come down to the last few possessions. I just think overall Butler's slightly better, so that's why I would lean towards them. McNeese State is going for their ticket to the big dance tonight against Nicholls State. I grabbed this at 13.5 last night, posted in the Discord, and it's moved to 16.5. So I don't know whether to feel good about that or not, because anytime I've had any CLV this college basketball season, I just lose the bet. So I don't know if we should feel good about this 3 points of CLV we got or not. I mean, you can see Nicholls is getting a lot of money on this 16.5. I don't know. McNeese has played them twice already, beat them by 20 plus in both games. McNeese is just far and away the better team, but it is, a conference title game like this. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of points. So I definitely liked the 13.5. I do not like 16.5. I would not be playing McNeese minus 16.5. Providence, Georgetown. These teams play like every other day, it feels like. But, we have the Ed Cooley versus former team. Now it's in the Big East tournament. Providence 9-point favorites. I'd lean Georgetown to cover, but that line has come down 2 points at 11. I would have liked that 11 a little bit more than the 9, but I probably won't play the game. Rutgers, Maryland. This is a really interesting game. So I'm assuming that Rutgers has like completely given up on this season, I feel like. And they've played really bad down the stretch. But Maryland isn't much better. I mean, there's rumors that like Willard could get fired. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Julian Reese did not play in Maryland's last game of the regular season. He sat out. And I think it's like widely known that he's going to transfer. So I don't even know if Maryland's going to have Julian Reese in this game. I guess we need to wait closer. What time is this game? 6:30. Maybe we'll get some news on that closer to 6:30. Someone in Discord just told me Trent tailed the TCU. I mean, Trent bets on TCU like every time they play because he's like a TCU fan, so that doesn't matter to me much. But I don't know about Julian Reese. I would say I like Maryland in this game, but if Julian Reese has like been a really big factor for Maryland this year. So if he's not playing, I mean, he didn't play against Penn State and they lost in that last game of the regular season. So I can't back Maryland if I don't know if Julian Reese is playing. If we got word that he's in, I would definitely be interested in adding Maryland to my card. If we get news that he's out, definitely a stay away on the Maryland side. Maybe you could talk me into Rutgers, but both these teams suck. So not going out of my way to bet it, but I just want you to know, like, if you're watching this, hopefully I help you out. I don't know if Julian Reese is playing. I would be very hesitant to bet this if he's not playing. And if you are on top of news, when the news comes out that he's playing or not, you can still get this number 3.5. So if you're thinking about betting Maryland, I personally would wait and make sure that there's some sort of concrete news that Julian Reese is playing in this game, because it seems like pretty set in stone he's transferring, and he did not play in their last game. So I don't know if he's playing. Vanderbilt, Arkansas, don't really care. I would lean Arkansas. They should win. I like Texas over Kansas State. Kansas State is extremely good on the defensive end, but they cannot score. They are outside of any metric that you could look at. The top teams in the country in terms of like offense, shooting, specifically 3-point shooting, they are not good. And on defense, the one area of their team I think Texas can exploit that they struggle in. So I definitely lean Texas in this game. Texas, when they're fully healthy, is good. And Dessou, I think, is good to go. He played over the weekend. So I like Texas. I think Texas is live to make a little run in this Big 12 tournament. So I respect Kansas State. I respect Jerome Tang. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. But this team just can't score. And Texas is good themselves on defense, but significantly better on offense than Kansas State. So ultimately, I think even if it's a close game at half, I think Texas will pull away in the second half. Syracuse, NC State. Upon first look, I wanted to take Syracuse here, but I think DJ Horn, who did not play yesterday for NC State, I think he will play today. So that's given me some pause on the Syracuse side. I'm probably not touching this. First look, I liked Syracuse. If DJ Horn plays for NC State, which it sounds like he's going to, it kind of sounds to me like they just rested him yesterday because they knew they were going to beat Louisville because Louisville's horrible. So I expect him to play, and that's enough to just push me off the game altogether. If you're betting Syracuse, I would be cautious, I think. Penn State should crush Michigan. I definitely lean towards them here. Michigan is just, they're horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the injuries that they've had to deal with over the last month have just really pushed them to like even further down. So definitely lean Penn State over Michigan in that game. I lean Stanford over Cal in this game as well. It's not a huge play for me. I haven't even taken it yet, but I like Stanford. I'll probably add it in some capacity. Stanford is the type of team that I like to bet on in these conference tournaments. They can get super hot from three, and that's what you need. Cal, I think they split the season series, but I don't like this Cal team. Stanford at least has some upside with their 3-point shooting. So if Stanford's cold, you're on Stanford, Nick. Nice. It's a good pick. If Stanford's cold, they're not going to win from three, but if they get hot, they can run them out of the gym. So I like Stanford in this game. I will probably add that in some capacity. Georgia, Mizzou, I have no idea like what's up with this line. I haven't bet this, but Missouri literally did not win a conference game, and now Georgia is slight favorites and the line's moving against them. The only thing I can think of is that Abdur-Rahim is not going to play, I guess. He's like questionable. I don't know. I'm not touching this though because this line is super fishy, but Georgia should win the game. I don't know why they wouldn't. But that line is super fishy, so I'm not touching that. All right, here now we're getting to the good stuff. Cincinnati, Kansas, 9:30 tonight. I'm betting Cincinnati. I hate this. I feel gross about this. Makes me want to I feel like I need a shower. The fact that I'm betting on Cincinnati. I hate this Cincinnati team. They stink. They have not played up to expectations this year. I don't know. They're a strange team, the Cincinnati bunch. They were down big. They were down like 15 to West Virginia late in the second half yesterday. Came back and won. And now they're favored over Kansas because Kansas is missing McCullough and Hunter Dickinson. So here's my thoughts on this game. like I said, I hate the Cincinnati team. I don't think they're very good. But I don't see how Kansas can win this game without McCullough and Hunter Dickinson. The problem with Kansas all year, outside of them not being able to play road games, this isn't really a road game. It's in Kansas City, so it's actually kind of like a semi-home game for Kansas. But outside of them not being able to play road games this year, their biggest issue is they have no depth. And I think that when you get to the NCAA tournament, having a ton of depth, it doesn't really mean much to me because I don't know. Like, are you really going to run 9, 10 guys in the NCAA tournament? No, you're playing your best players. You're playing your best lineup for the maximum amount of minutes that you can. But the problem is when you don't have, when I say Kansas doesn't have depth, we're talking bottom 10, bottom 15 bench production in the entire country, which is just insane to say that for Kansas of all teams. And so when you're taking their two best players out, specifically Hunter Dickinson, this is a big, big factor because Kansas is going to have to play extremely small in this game. They're going to be running a small lineup for the entire game. Cincinnati is one of the tallest teams in the country. They're all big. They have a ton of size. And if you look back to when Kansas played Cincinnati in the regular season this year, Cincinnati comfortably out-rebounded Kansas, and that was with Hunter Dickinson on the floor. So now you take him off the floor, and they're going to run this really small lineup. Cincinnati should absolutely dominate on the glass. They should be able to feast offensive boards. They should be able to get a ton of second chances. So I just don't see how Kansas can win this game. Now, if there was any team in the Big 12 that Kansas could beat without McCullough and Dickinson, it's probably Cincinnati because Cincinnati just sucks and they've underwhelmed all season. But ultimately, I am betting Cincy. I'm riding with the Bearcats tonight. I don't think Kansas can win without these guys. So I like Cincy tonight. Hopefully Lukosius does what he does yesterday and just scores like 30 points and makes 10 threes. But once again, I'm signing up for pain and betting on this Cincinnati team. It's not going to be fun to watch. They're not fun to watch. It's going to be a sweat, but we are betting Cincinnati tonight. BC Clemson. This seems like a lot of points, but I really like this Clemson team. They were my pick to win. If you take UNC and Duke out of the picture, I think Clemson is the next likeliest team to win this conference tournament. I like this Clemson team. I think they can make a run. So, I mean, I lean towards them, but 7 points I don't like, really. But you could moneyline parlay Clemson with someone, I think. I think that would be fine. Like Clemson and Stanford or Clemson and Penn State or Clemson and even like a Texas. I think you could do something like that, and that would be pretty good, I think. All right, I'm going to check these scores. Washington's up on USC. Wake Forest is still up by 9 on Notre Dame. VCU is still down a point. VCU is probably a decent live bet here. I'm not going to take anything because I'm on stream, but I don't know. I mean, is Fordham really going to beat VCU? I don't know. This VCU team is so weird. This is another team that has just underwhelmed the entire season. But when VCU has been fully healthy, they've played good. So I don't understand why they're still losing to Fordham. You can get them minus 2.5 live or minus 148 money line. Could be decent. I don't know. VCU should win this game. Oh, they just got hammered. It's at the minus 192 money line now. So I don't know. I think VCU should win that game. I did add to my conference futures portfolio. So if you guys have been following along with that on the stream this week, I officially added Florida at 20-1 and Nevada at 5-1. So I just added those in with the other ones we've taken. We hit not Colgate. We hit Charleston last night, future, that cashed. And we hit Morehead State last weekend. I had App State who lost theirs. But we're definitely up units on the futures right now. And we just I have a ton. I have like 3 different ones in the SEC now with Florida added, Nevada in the MWC. That's the only one I've taken there. Small sprinkle on St. John's in the Big East. They have a gauntlet though. They got to beat Seton Hall and then beat UConn. Super tough road for the Johnnies, but Rick Pitino, it's worth a sprinkle. The one I actually weirdly feel best about for a long shot is the longest odds we got, and that's Texas A&M at 100-1. And that's just because I like their draw a lot. If you look at the SEC bracket, they're on the bottom half, which avoids Tennessee and Auburn. So they're up against Kentucky potentially and Alabama, which are the 2 worst defensive teams in terms of the top seeds. So I like my chances there. They also have beaten Kentucky this season, I think, already once. And they've started to come on, man. The problem with them is that they just can't score and they can't shoot. But you would assume that shooting they can't shoot any worse than they have. They've literally been one of the worst shooting teams in the entire country. So you would assume if they could just make shots marginally better than what they have been, they can win games. And they won 3 in a row coming into this tournament. So I think they should be able to beat Ole Miss. They've already beat Kentucky once this season. So if they can somehow upset Kentucky and get some momentum going, I actually think like the longest odds one I took is the one I feel best about actually winning, and that is Texas A&M in the SEC. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I don't know. Nevada, that's not a long shot at 5-1, but Nevada top to bottom is the best team in the MWC in my opinion, and they have a really good path because they're going to play CSU in the second round most likely, which they should win. And then they're going to play probably, if I had to guess, New Mexico, but it's going to be New Mexico or Boise. And I definitely think they can beat both those teams. And Utah State, San Diego State, those teams are on the top. So they're avoiding that until the championship. So Nevada has a really, really good path to get to the championship game. And I think that just overall, they're the best team. They did struggle against New Mexico, though, this season. I think they lost both games. So maybe that gives you a little bit of pause, but I think if they play New Mexico again, they'll win. But I'm good with they play New Mexico or Boise, either one. TCU, Clemson, Stanford, Penn State, FanDuel boost. Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think that's fine. I used mine on. I don't even remember who I took. I think I took like 3 or 4 teams. Usually I just use those on like lottery tickets because I think that's the best way to maximize it since you're increasing the odds. But I don't hate those teams that you just laid out. Overall, that about does it for today. We'll be live same time, same place tomorrow, 3 p.m. We have even bigger slate tomorrow because like the further we go on, so Thursday and Friday streams are gonna be crazy because the later we get in the week, the better the games are gonna be. So we're gonna have a bunch of good games again tomorrow. Like I said, TCU, that was a big spot for me. Penn State, I like. And Cincinnati, that's my spots tonight. So good luck with your wagers tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'll be live same time, same place tomorrow, 3 p.m. Bring some bets for me tomorrow to discuss. Hopefully the lines come out early enough tonight that we can dive into them. But good luck tonight, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.